Okay, folks, now we're going to get into fixing the machine and what I like to do when a machine is in front of me. So when a machine is in front of me to repair it, I always try and relay the information to you as if I was repairing the machine to make your job a little bit easier. So as I said, we're always going to have to remove the lid. So the lid is the easiest thing to remove. We remove the lid. Now on older machines, we've compacted the body over the years and we put the water tank on the back, so that's kind of shrunk the body a little bit of the 100 machine. But I have a trick. I used to do everything with the body intact, and getting inside to replace certain components was a little bit more difficult. Obviously, I got used to it and I got quick at it, but somebody who's never done this before, we want to make it as easy as possible for them. So guys have told me before that in replacing a water pump, and we'll look at it this way from the top, trying to get in here and replace a water pump or replace this computer board, it's a little bit different because of the wall, the side wall of the machine. So there's a trick that I use, and obviously these machines have to be built, and obviously we've designed them to be repairable, so we want things to come apart in different sections. So if we look at the way the body is, we have a three-piece front. So the two sides and the front are all one piece, our base is one piece, and our lid is one piece. So when I start working on a machine, if I have to replace a computer board, if I have to replace a pump, this is what I do. So our remaining bolts, we have bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, bolt here. These are actually screws. Screw here, screw here, screw here. I've taken numerous screws out already because this is the trick. Now, the only time that I really want you to use a gun, an impact gun, is if you know how to use it and if you're being careful with it. I zip the screws out with the impact gun, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call what I call drop the body. So I take everything off the sides first. I take everything off the sides first, and now you can see the body kind of flops around a little bit. Now it looks like we're getting into a really big repair, and you might get nervous, oh my God, he's taking the whole machine apart. It's really not a big deal. So I'm going to take the last remaining screw out of the front. We take the last remaining screw out of the front, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the body. So when I drop the body to the bench, the body now drops to the bench. So there's two ways you can do this. Now we kind of have a trap door, which we have a little bit of a trap door effect here, which allows us to get to the computer board a little bit easier and get to the pump a little bit easier, but I like to do this. So once the body is dropped, I'm now going to lift it. So I'm going to drop it and lift it. Now the only wires, we have enough slack in our tubing, we have enough slack in this hose, we have enough slack in these wires, to where we're able to do this, again, because I wanted it this way. When the body is up like this, we have a lot more room to work. The only thing you want to worry about that gets a little bit tight is these ground wires right here. We don't want to pull these ground wires out. So if you pull the ground wires out before you put the body back, we just need to reconnect these ground wires. So now with this left side wall open, it gives us much easier access if we need to replace the pump or if we need to replace the computer board. So if we need to either replace the computer board, replace the pump, look for imperfections in our wiring to see if anything's burnt, this gives us much better access. And it's really, really easy now to replace a water pump or to replace the computer board if we do this. And it's only going to take a matter of a minute or two to get these screws out of the side, the bottom, the front, and then drop the body and lift it just like that. Now, before we end this video, I'll show you how to put the body back. So obviously, I've taken it apart, we have to put it back. Sometimes putting things back aren't quite as easy as taking them apart. So if we've done our parts replacement and I want to put it back, I'm just going to fold the body. And again, don't be afraid of bending the metal. So if we bend it like this, and we get it back on the bench, sitting like that, my trick is first, I'm going to put the machine on its end, and the first thing I want to do is line up the body and get my first screw lined up in the front. So if I get my first screw lined up in the front, and if I just put that in by hand, I can give it a little twist with the gun. just to get it in. Now we put the machine back down. And once I put the machine back down, we can kind of maneuver things to get everything else lined up. So, and then once everything gets lined up, all I need to do is just line up my holes here, here, and here, and then just start putting our screws back in. So we want this part of the body back together before we can put the lid on. And then once the body is back together this way, then the lid will go on. You can put your screws on. And the other thing that I love about our machine, and again, I'll take credit for designing it this way, is the machine is fully operational, both with the body dropped to the bench. If we're looking at problems on the computer board, we're looking at problems anywhere else in the water pump, water flow issues, things that might be clogged. The machine is totally operational with the lid off. Now, obviously, we have to be careful. If this is not plugged in, I'm reaching inside the machine, I'm touching the computer board, you're not going to know where there's voltage. So if we're working on the machine, not only does the on-off switch need to be off, we want to be unplugged. If you're going to run the machine with the body open, then again, don't reach into the machine while the machine is running. If it's at pressure, as long as it's plugged in, there's voltage going to the computer board, there's voltage going to the on-off switch. If the machine is plugged in and you're working on it with the body like this or the body dropped, do not reach inside the machine because you're not going to know where the voltage is. But the machine is fully operational with the body apart like this.